small knife on my keychain. Don't know why it's even there. If I got jumped on my way home, don't know if I would even care. There's a small pen on my keychain for all the lyrics I wanna steal. Twist them around and call them a tribute. Wonder why fraud is how I feel. If I exhausted all my means, as they keep poking holes in the pockets of my jeans. There's some sort of magic tool carry with my keys. Help explain the way I act with these. As long as I ignore a cure to my disease, will be weird shit on my keys. There's a flashlight on my keychain. Find my way through the dark. I'll walk in circles, stumble and fall. Never consider using it at all. If I exhausted all my means, as they keep poking holes in the pockets of my jeans. There's some sort of magic tool carry with my keys. Help explain the way I act with these. And as long as I ignore a cure to my disease, will be weird shit on my keys. There's some string on my keychain, guess to remind me when you were here. Doesn't really serve its purpose. It's more of a scar than a souvenir. If I exhausted all my dreams, as I keep wearing those whole riddled jeans. There's some sort of magic tool carry with my keys. Help explain the way I act with these. And as long as I ignore cure to my disease, will be weird shit on my keys. And as long as I ignore room to my disease, will be weird shit on my keys.
This song's called Imposter Rook.
happened to all the great ideas? A spark in my eye, but I held dear it all. Seems to wash away. I traded it all for feeling safe, quenched the thirst, never tempted fate, and I watched as life goes by, day by. Hope someone see through it, expose the lies, call me on my shit, and then maybe I'll be forced to change and stare truth in the face. And if that day never comes, well, I'll write it out, stick to my guns, I guess. Just be happy with being sad. And I think about a different time, and I stop from wondering why. What happened to all great ideas? Spark in my eye, but I held dear it all. Seems to wash away. Traded it all for feeling safe, quenched the thirst, never tempted fate, and I watch as life goes by, day by day.
Hello, we are half of Lorraine. My name is Mark,
I'm Jason.
and then there's two absent men called Phil and Liam. And yeah, we're from Glasgow. And Phil's responsible for putting us together, but he's not here, which is a bit of a bummer, I think. Sorry, man.
Some of the key places where I draw influences, definitely the Gaslight Anthem would be 100%. I think I've ripped off like half their catalog. And then the Menzingers, and then some of the where I draw inspiration for like some of the guitar parts. It's just mainly like older 90s emo, I think. Sort of the Midwestern kind of twinkle. I like to steal those types of vibes. So that's where I mainly come from.
Yeah, so I guess for me, Bruce Springsteen is definitely one. I think when it's a tough question because I've been a punk kid for like my whole life, so that makes sense. One of my biggest influences was Rise Against, although I don't really listen to them so much anymore. The Menzingers is one of the things that we share in common. I think the whole band share that one in common. The Gaslight Anthem as well. More recently, maybe Pup, I suppose. We listen to them quite a lot.
Yeah.
And yeah, I definitely Midwestern emo is a big thing. I love Cursive, and I don't know about Bright Eyes, but I think you might like. You look like a Bright Eyes fan. Are you a Bright Eyes fan? Well, not Bright Eyes then. And of course, I like Prince. And it was actually quite funny. The reason I bring it up is because there's a song called Cathy's Song, which you may have heard or are about to hear. And my wee brother was like, that's the exact same chorus to a Prince song. I was like, cool, man, thanks for that. Appreciate that. Sounds nothing like it, but awesome.
I don't think I've ever listened to a whole Prince song.
I'm driving you home, so good luck. So when it comes to songwriting, I think when we began, it was Jason and Phil and I who were writing songs individually and then kind of bringing them in to the studio. And then I think that you can kind of tell they were written by three different people. But over lockdown, I wrote quite a lot of songs, and so did Jason. And so Phil wrote some as well. When we've brought those ones in, it's become a lot more collaborative process. I think, we've not been a band for very long. We've been a band for a couple of years. and we've only played 4 shows, and half those shows have been in BLOC. And I think there's always that period of like feeling each other out, you know, thinking about how to even just be diplomatic when somebody's part's rubbish, or good even, you know.
Yeah, that's something I'm still struggling with, because this is the first band I've ever been in, really, so I haven't really figured out that collaborative process. I'm still very precious with everything I bring in, and I can be stubborn with it, or I can be, you know, mean about things. So I'm still trying to work that out. But I think some of the songs that we did work on, like later on in our in our career, it has been way more like we've bounced more ideas off each other, rather than, hey, I brought this thing in, I have rhythm, lead, and solos written, figure it out. So yeah.
Yes, I think it's a strange process, and we're still learning about how to kind of bring that together. I know Jason and I, we've been working together on songs quite a lot recently, and although you would usually bring in some riffs, I find it now quite difficult to see where it ends, and where your song ends. And,
oh yeah, 100%.
you know,
Yeah,
and
I mean, if I bring in like a half-baked idea, it's not my song. Like we just take it on from there. And then,
yeah. Uh-huh. I think the overall health of the DIY scene is quite hard to gauge, because it is a difficult time right now. There's a lot of venues that have closed. We're only just getting back to gigs now as we record this. And we certainly have none on the calendar, but lots of our friends' bands and stuff are starting to do things again, which is pretty cool. I think Glasgow, probably the whole central belt, I guess, has got a really good kind of punk and DIY hardcore scene, because I come from the hardcore scene, so I'm still kind of attached to that as well. And it seems in quite good health. Whether or not there's going to be places for bands to play in the coming 6 months and onwards, I've got no idea. But yeah, some of my favourite records released last year were from bands that are Scottish and are punk bands. You know, I can't really speak too much more to the kind of wider UK scene, because I've been involved in Glasgow and Edinburgh, and I suppose to some extent Dundee music for a wee while. But you know, now that I'm thinking about it, I actually can't think of any new bands that popped up during lockdown. But a lot of the bands that were still doing stuff did a lot of stuff, you know. And our pals Paper Rifle released a new album in lockdown. John's been writing lots. Your good friends Goodbye Blue Monday are always doing stuff. You know, there's loads of bands out there that are continuing to do things, and I don't want to just keep listing them. Nelson Savage is another one. You know, there's loads of cool bands. So I think the scene's in decent health. I'm looking forward to playing in a room with some of my friends again. I think that'll be really fun. And seeing what new stuff. There's a lot of people will have been out there and have been writing stuff in their own bedrooms. There's probably going to be a bunch of new bands that will spring up sooner rather than later. I'm excited to see what that's going to be as well.
A lot of lo-fi records, a lot of tiny little beats. Love it.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things that's maybe worth saying that you've said that. Over lockdown, we recorded our own EP at home, acoustic, called Almost Acoustic, and we just recorded it all at home. And Phil mixed it, and it's a bit janky, but
you can tell.
You can totally tell. But yeah, I think our process was fun. We were quite fortunate that we could do that. I think a lot of other bands are maybe not, but maybe there will be some dodgy lo-fi records coming from other people very soon, not from us. So, you know, I think the key to making your band sustainable is to drive exclusively electric cars when you go on tour. But I think, you know, having a day job is kind of important, right? Especially during the pandemic, that was kind of very important. There's a lot of really good labels out there that were doing stuff during the pandemic to try and support bands, and releasing compilations, or, you know, as we just kind of spoke about when we asked the last question, just writing like solo stuff, or, you know, the band but under like the band's name but under the one person just doing it at home, and then kind of releasing that and trying to raise some funds that way. But touring is obviously the obvious answer, right? We haven't been able to do that. I think with the closure of lots of venues, and there's less options for people to play, and I've got a feeling there's going to be more bands than ever really soon, and I think that might make it even harder to become sustainable, because I think it might be even harder to get gigs in some venues, particularly for bands like ours, when there's not really a lot of places that we could play anymore in Britain. There's a few, but I think, yeah, the sustainability question is a tough one.
It's also is interesting, like different skill sets inside the band, because like, well, Liam can draw, so he does our merch.
Mhm.
You can you got your hands around the social media aspect of it.
Don't know about that.
I'm useless in the corner. Phil has his contacts. Yeah, that's a good way.
Actually, contact is a good point. Like networking is key, right? If you want your band to be sustainable, you need to. I hate saying networking, right? But it's true. You need to go out there and go to other people's shows, make friends, and just, gig swaps are great when they happen. But yeah, it's harder more than ever to answer that question. I don't really think I have a solid answer for it, but just be a good person. This song is called Cathy's Song. 1, 2, 3, 4. Cathy came home and walked into Shayna, leaving her dishes soaking in the kitchen sink. She's trying so hard, she's trying her best to help him. But love's a complicated thing. She's telling herself the same old story to hold on to hope. Take it to your grave. Things are never as bad as they seem. Hold on to Cathy came home, walked into another Shayna. He rolled her head right off of the kitchen sink. Kid started screaming and he threw the plates right at them. This isn't love, it's control that makes you sick. She's telling herself the same old story to hold on to hope. Take it to your grave. Things are never as bad as they seem. Hold on to hope. Hold on to hope. Take it to your grave. Hold on to hope. Take it to your grave. Things are never as bad as they seem. Hold on to hope. Happy? You're in the wrong band then, son.
Reasonably. Right. This one is called Oxymoron, and it's about me being a mess.
Giving up on believing anything I do will ever make sense at all. Why think about leaving? All I ever wanted was a place that felt like a home. I say, don't mind being alone. God forbid I spend a minute without my phone. I hate any form of pretension. Have I ever done anything real at all? Have I ever said anything sincere before? Even though my hairline's receding, it seems to me that I haven't grown at all. Give myself a good beating. Self-deprecation as the go-to protocol. I'll pick my skin down to the bone if I sense a hint of anger in your tone. I hate being the center of attention, but look at me in front of this microphone. 'Cause I'm counting down the days, bracing for the fall. So full of shit, yet there's room for insecurities. They wouldn't need to be liked. Shoot myself on the foot, top shelf immaturity, 'cause I can't say anything nice. For better or worse, I'm alive and kicking myself when I'm down. 'Cause nothing compares to a little self-pity as you spiral out. And the rain will kill us all. Throw ourselves against the wall. No one else can see the preservation of the martyr in me. The rain will kill us all when we throw ourselves against the wall, but no one else can see. And I'm so full of shit, yet there's room for insecurities. They wouldn't need to be like. Shoot myself on the foot, top shelf immaturity, 'cause I can't say anything nice. For better or worse, I'm alive and kicking myself when I'm down. 'Cause nothing compares to a little self-pity as you spiral out.
Psychosocial.